Video, I will cover topic compliance. So let's start the topic compliance. So what do you mean by compliance? It describes the distensibility of the respiratory structures. It says how much the lung expand for each unit increase in pressure. It is expressed as compliance is equal to change in volume per unit change in pressure. Means as we change the pressure, there will be change in the compliance, there will be change in the distensibility of the structure. Now it can be expressed as ml per centimeter of water. That ml represent the volume, centimeter of water represent the pressure. So with this, by this expression, we can say that if compliance is high, distensibility of the structure is more, the volume changes a lot. If compliance is less, distensibility is less, the volume changes a little. Now what is the relationship between the compliance and the elasticity? So compliance is inversely proportional to elasticity. Means the more elastic fibers in a structure, for example in the alveoli, the greater its tendency to spring back, and the stiffer and the less compliant it is. The fewer elastic fibers are present in a structure, the lesser its tendency to spring back and the more compliant it is. So this means that if elastic fibers are more, they will prevent expansion of the lung. If elastic fibers are less, lung will fill with air easily and it get expand easily. So high compliance indicates less elastic recoiling and low compliance indicates more elastic recoiling. Now what is the relationship between the compliance and surface tension? So again, compliance is inversely proportional to surface tension. If there is an increase in surface tension, there will be decrease in compliance, there will be decrease in the distensibility, and so more work will be required to expand the lung. If there is a decreased surface tension, there will be increased compliance, distensibility will be more, and less work will be required to expand the lung. So here in this diagram, you can see here this is the alveoli, and you can see water molecules, fluid line this alveoli. Now due to this air fluid interface, this will generate surface tension effect, and this surface tension causes the shrinking tendency of the or collapsing tendency of the alveoli. So surface tension cause collapsing of alveoli, compliance cause the distensibility. So compliance is inversely proportional to surface tension. So these are the basic concepts regarding the compliance. Now there are two factors which determine the compliance. So first is elastic forces, include elastin fibers and collagen fibers present in the lung parenchyma. These tissue elastic forces represent 1/3 of total lung elasticity. And second factor is surface tension. This surface tension represents 2/3 of total lung elasticity. So for normal breathing cycle, lungs should be both compliant and elastic. They must be enough compliant so that they will be there easily during inspiration, and they must be elastic so that they recoil and push air out during expiration. Now, next point is about the type of compliance. So there are three types of compliance. First is static compliance, second specific, third is dynamic compliance. Now we will see one by one. So first, what is static compliance? So static lung compliance is, it is the change in lung volume for a given change in pressure under known static condition. Means there will be zero airflow. So we measure lung compliance when lungs are stationary, no air is flowing in and out. So there is a zero airflow. Okay. So now how do we measure static lung compliance? Now just imagine that lung as a stationary tissue, or take it outside the body and we will keep it in a jar, and we will see how much it is stretchable. That would be called as static compliance of lung. So static means stationary. Now in the experiment, the lung and the airways are open to the atmosphere, and because we have kept outside the body in a jar, and the pressure inside the lung will be equal to atmospheric pressure, and pressure outside the lung can be changed, is varied with a pump to simulate changes in intrapleural pressure. So by help of pump, we can change intrapleural pressure present outside the lung. So the volume of the lung is measured at different pressure. When outside pressure is made more negative, you know that lung inflate and its volume increase. When the outside pressure is made less negative, the lung deflates and its volume decrease. So this sequence of inflation and deflation creates a pressure volume loop, also known as compliance loop. So Total compliance of both lungs together, if we measure it, it will come 200 ml per centimeter of water. So this means that if pressure is 1 centimeter of water, lung will be distended by 200 ml of air. If pressure changed by 2 centimeter of water, lung will be distended by 400 ml of air. If we change the pressure, if pressure is 3 centimeter of water, lung will be distended by 600 ml of air. So this is about the static compliance. Now if we talk about compliance of lung plus chest wall or thoracic system together, then what will be the compliance? So that is, during inspiration, thorax expands, pleura moves, lung expands. So compliance will become, or it become half of the static lung compliance. Lung compliance, compliance of lung alone, that is 100 to 110 ml per centimeter of water pressure. So what is the reason behind that? So lung and thoracic cage, they move in opposite direction. Thoracic cage has a tendency to move outward and lung has a natural tendency of collapsing inward because of the surface tension effect present in alveoli. So as lung and thorax move in opposite direction, they have opposing tendency. So compliance of entire system become almost half of that compliance lung alone, as they are moving in opposite direction. So with change in pressure, there will be less distensibility. So compliance remain as 100 to 110 ml per centimeter of water. So remember, when we consider compliance of lung alone, compliance is 200 ml per centimeter of water, and if we consider both lung plus chest wall combined system, the compliance will be 110 ml per centimeter of water. Now second is about the specific compliance. So what do you mean by specific compliance? It is a true measure of the distensibility of the lung tissue. It is defined as compliance per unit change in volume of the lung. So here lungs are at functional residual capacity. So what is functional residual capacity? It is the amount of air remain in the lung at the end of quiet expiration, at the end of normal expiration. So remember that when lungs are at functional residual capacity, respiratory system is said to be in equilibrium state, or they get the resting state. So how this equilibrium position is achieved? So at functional residual capacity, two opposing tendencies, tendency of lung to move inward and tendency of thorax to move outward, they cancel each other. And therefore, we say respiratory system is in equilibrium position at the end of normal expiration. So here you can see at FRC, chest wall elastic recoiling, that is pulling inward, is equal to lung elastic recoil pulling inward at functional residual capacity. So what is the implication of this? We have a compliance of 200 ml per centimeter of water, that we know, that is the distensibility of lung. But it is for how much lung mass, distensibility is for how much lung size, that is to be considered. See, specific compliance is like a cardiac index. We know that cardiac index is cardiac output per square meter of surface area. That is, heart pumps 5 liter of blood per minute in 1 minute. So this circulation of blood is for how much body surface area. So in the same way, specific compliance is compliance or the distensibility for how much lung tissue. So this specific compliance can be used to compare compliance between lung of different volume. For example, of child and adult, it is used to compare different lung. Now for example, in child and adult, in both cases, lung may have a same distensibility, but lung sizes are different. So functional residual of capacity of these two cases would be different. So this is about the specific compliance. Now the third compliance is dynamic compliance. Now what do you mean by dynamic compliance? It represents the pulmonary compliance during period of gas flow, such as during active inspiration. Means when there is an actual movement of air occur in and out. So dynamic compliance is change in compliance with the stage of breathing. So compliance goes on changing during different stage of breathing. For example, at some stage of breathing, for very small change in pressure, there will be good volume distension. That is, compliance is good. And at some other stage of breathing, for very large change in pressure, there would be small volume distension. Compliance is not that good. So now how do we measure, how can we measure the dynamic compliance? Now we know that after an inspiration, lung have a tendency to collapse and chest wall has a tendency to expand. So the interaction between the recoiling of lung and recoiling of chest wall can be demonstrated in a living subject by using a spirometer. So this spirometer has a valve which is present just beyond the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece contains a pressure measuring device, that is manometer, which will measure the pressure changes. Now we will ask the subject to inhale a given amount of air, then we shut the valve and we are closing off the airway. So after this, the respiratory muscle start relaxing while the pressure in airway is recorded. So this procedure is repeated after inhalation or exhalation of various volume. So in this way, airway pressure is obtained and this can be plotted against the volume, and we will get the pressure volume curve of total respiratory system, or known as compliance loop or known as hysteresis loop. So this is the diagram showing the compliance diagram or the compliance loop. So in this diagram, what you need to know is this is the compliance diagram. So this horizontal axis. So this is the horizontal axis which represent the pressure changes, and this is the vertical axis which represent the changes in volume, pressure in centimeter of water and volume in liter. Okay, now this is the inspiration curve recorded during inspiration, and this is the expiration curve. Now this is inspiration curve, this is expiration curve, represent the compliance, and the area between these two curves represent the work of breathing. Now this compliance diagram also known as hysteresis loop. Now what does this hysteresis mean? See, compliance in respiratory system does not follow same path on application of stimulus and withdrawal of stimulus. That is known as hysteresis. See, in other system we have seen that when you increase parameter, graph goes up. When we decrease parameter, graph goes down following the same path. For example, if we increase parameter, for example in other system, if we increase parameter, there will be graph goes up. When we decrease the parameter, graph goes down, but it follow the same path. But in case of this compliance of respiratory system, now in this compliance of respiratory system, the inspiratory curve and expiratory curve are drawn differently. They follow different path. For example, here you can see in this compliance diagram, this inspiration curve goes up when we change the pressure from -5, -4 to -6. So this is the inspiration curve. This is the inspiration curve. And with expiration, graph does not come down by same path. Here you can see that after inspiration, when expiration occurs, it does not follow the same path, but it follows the different path. It come down, the graph come down by following the other path. So in this compliance diagram, the inspiration curve and expiration curve will be drawn differently. So this is known as the hysteresis loop. Now the other point we have to note in this graph is that this is the starting of inspiration, this is the end of inspiration, this is the start of expiration, this is the end of expiration. So during the inspiration, when the volume in the lung is very small, so when the lung volume is very less, here is the steep portion of the curve at the starting of the inspiration. So here you can see for a very small change in pressure, curve goes up rapidly. So this is the steepest portion. There is a quick increase in the volume of lung with a very small change in pressure. There is a quick increase in the volume of the lung. So here is a good distensibility or good compliance at start of inspiration. Now at end of inspiration, you can notice curve become somewhat flat. This means with further increase in pressure, curve does not goes up on volume axis, volume does not increase. This means that at high pressure, this lung become less compliant and it start recoiling, try to come back to original position. So this is the start of expiration and this is the end of expiration. This is the start of expiration, this is the end of expiration. So from here, lung start recoiling and expire all the air, come out to normal volume and normal pressure. So what is the reason behind this? So what is the reason for the hysteresis? Why these curves are drawn? They follow the different path. So reason is about the surface tension and the tissue resistance and airway resistance. So at low lung volume, alveoli are smaller in size. Surfactant molecules are placed very near to each other. They are present very near to each other. They are concentrated. So they are very efficient in decreasing the surface tension. So with very small change in pressure, there is a large change in volume. Volume increases very quickly. Then at high lung volume, when alveolar diameter is increased, surfactant molecule get scattered. Now they are not efficient in decreasing surface tension. Surface tension effect is more. Recoiling of lung starts. Okay, and so air will push out and expiration occurs. So we will obtain this type of graph. So this is about the compliance diagram. Now next is that how does filling the lung with saline alter lung compliance. So here we can see the effect of surface tension. So we will get this type of graph if we fill the lung with air. If we fill the lung with air, then there will be the air fluid interface. There is a surface tension effect. So lung need to overcome this surface tension effect. So inspiration is an active process. Lung will overcome the resistance effect, surface tension effect. We will obtain this inspiration curve, and then recoiling of lung occur, and we will get this expiration curve, and this will represent the work of breathing. Then if we fill the lung with saline, then what happen? Now here we can see that the this work of breathing is very less. We can see this area between the inspiration curve and expiration curve is very less. That is, work of breathing is very less. So if lung are filled with saline, there is no air fluid interface, therefore surface tension effect is not present. Only tissue elastic forces are operative in the saline solution filled lung. So with very small change in pressure, you can notice here, with very small change in pressure, there is a huge increase in the volume of the lung. There is a large increase in the volume, meaning the compliance is increased because there is no surface tension effect. So pressure required to expand the air filled lung is about 3 times greater than required to expand the saline solution filled lung, as surface tension effect is not present. And I have already told you that the area falling between this inspiration and expiration curve represent the work required to overcome the airway resistance during inspiration and expiration. So in this way we can see the effect of the surface tension. Now the last slide, that is about the applied physiology. So here you can notice that in a normal human subject, if we record the pressure volume loop, we will obtain this type of graph. So this is the pressure changes, this is the volume changes. Here pressure changes, volume changes. We will obtain this type of graph. Now what happened in emphysema? If person is having chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, that is having emphysema, then what changes will be there in the compliance? So in emphysema, what happened? Alveolar sac wall get destroyed. Destruction of alveolar septa will be there. So many alveoli come closer and they coalesce to form the large cavity. So in this condition, there is a loss of elastic fibers. So as there is a loss of elastic fibers, so lung expand very easily. There is a large volume of air can be accommodated in these alveoli, large alveoli. So compliance is increased. but as there is a destruction of the alveolar wall, alveolar septa, so surface area is decreased for gas exchange. So we can see that if there is a loss of elastic fibers, so with very small change in pressure, there is an increase in the volume of the lung. Compliance is very much increased. Curve will be shifted upward and on the leftward direction. Now what happened in fibrosis? Here in same way we can see it can be drawn like this also, it can be drawn like this also. So here you can see that with very small change in pressure, ear will fill very easily, means compliance is increased, distensibility of the structure is, lung is very much more. So curve will be shifted upward and on leftward direction. Now what happened in fibrosis? Now in fibrosis we know that lung parenchyma is destroyed, it is replaced by fibrous tissue. Fibrous tissue is not that elastic, it is not stretchable, so distensibility is decreased, compliance is decreased. So with very much with increase in pressure, volume does not increase that much, so graph move in downward and rightward direction. So here we can see that as there is a fibrous tissue, it will resist the expansion of the lung, so with change in pressure there is a little change in volume of the lung, so it will be shifted downward and rightward direction. So this is about the applied bite. I hope this video will be useful for you.